Step into a world of wonder and mystery. Join a brave fisherman's son as he faces magic, sacrifice, and learns the deepest secrets of the heart in Asterisk, the three princesses, dressed all in black.
Once upon a time, far away in East India, a powerful enemy laid siege to the land. They declared they would not leave until they received a very large sum of money, $600, which was a fortune in those days. The townsfolk lived in fear and uncertainty, their usual lively market quieted by dread. The ruler of the town, hoping to inspire action, announced a grand proclamation. Whoever could gather the money would become the new burgomaster, the town's highest leader. This promise echoed through the streets, offering both a challenge and a glimmer of hope to the anxious people. Everyone wondered who might be brave or resourceful enough to meet this daunting demand. By a shimmering lake, a kind fisherman and his brave young son spent their days, casting nets and sharing quiet moments. One sunny afternoon, as they were fishing, the formidable enemy soldiers suddenly appeared. With heavy footsteps and a strong demeanor, they seized the fisherman's son, taking him prisoner right before his father's eyes. But then, in an unexpected twist, the soldiers offered the tearful fisherman $600 for his son's release. With a heavy heart, knowing it was the only way to save his beloved boy, the fisherman agreed, receiving the money as his son was led away. Oh, how his heart ached, but he knew he had to do what was best for their town and for his son. Clutching the heavy bag of coins, the fisherman hurried through the bustling streets to the town's great men. He presented the $600, and as promised, he was declared the new burgomaster. The enemy, satisfied, packed up their camps and departed, leaving East India in peace once more. The fisherman, now the town's leader, felt a strange mix of pride and sorrow, his thoughts constantly with his missing son. To ensure respect for his new position, a solemn decree was proclaimed throughout the town. From that day forward, everyone must address him as Mr. Burgomaster, and anyone who failed to do so would face a terrible consequence. Meanwhile, far away, the brave young son had managed a daring escape from the enemy's clutches. He wandered for days until he stumbled upon a mystical, ancient forest high on a towering mountain. Suddenly, with a deep rumble, the side of the mountain split open, revealing a secret passage. Curious and undaunted, the young man stepped inside, discovering a magnificent, enchanted castle where everything, from chairs to tables, was draped in elegant black fabrics. Soon, three beautiful young princesses, dressed in shimmering black gowns, emerged from the shadows. Their eyes held a hint of sadness, but their smiles were gentle and reassuring. The beautiful princesses sweetly assured the bewildered young man, "Brave traveler, do not be afraid. We mean you no harm." Their voices were soft and melodious, carrying a hint of ancient sorrow. "In fact," one princess continued, her eyes sparkling, "you are the one who can finally deliver us from our long enchantment." The young man, always eager to help, replied with a courageous heart, "I would gladly help you, if only I knew how." Then, with hushed voices, they explained the strange conditions of their liberation. He must live in the castle for a whole year, never speaking to them, nor daring to look directly into their eyes. If he needed anything, he should simply ask, and they would answer if they were allowed to break their own silent vow. A whole year passed in the silent, enchanted castle, a time filled with quiet reflection. Though strange, the young man learned much, and felt a deep connection to the mysterious princesses. As the year drew to a close, he felt a longing to see his father again, to share his incredible adventures. When he voiced his wish, the princesses, with kind smiles, granted his request to leave. "You may go, but you must promise to return in just 1 week," they gently urged. They presented him with a magical purse, always full of money, and a special coat, both gifts to aid him on his journey home. With a surprising whoosh, the young man was instantly whisked away, finding himself back in the familiar streets of East India. He hurried to his childhood home, the small fisherman's hut by the lake, expecting to see his father. But to his dismay, the hut was empty, his father nowhere to be found. Confused, he began to ask the townsfolk, "Where can the poor fisherman be?" But each person shied away, their faces turning pale with alarm. They whispered to him, warning him not to utter such words, for it would surely lead to dire consequences, even the gallows. Driven by urgency and confusion, the young man sought out his father, spotting him emerging from a grand building. "Fisherman," he called out, his voice filled with longing, "how have you come to be here?" His father's face drained of color, his eyes wide with fear. "My son, you must not speak those words," he pleaded, his voice trembling. "If the great men of the town hear you call me simply fisherman, you will surely be sent to the gallows." But the son, still not fully understanding the grave reality, continued to question, driven by the desire to reconcile with his father. Despite the warnings, the young man refused to silence his questions, yearning to understand the strange new rules. His persistence was misunderstood as defiance, and tragically he was brought before the town's great men and sentenced to the gallows. As he stood on the solemn platform, facing his unjust fate, he made one final, heartfelt plea. "Oh, my masters," he requested, his voice clear and brave, "please allow me one last visit to the old fisherman's hut." His wish was granted. He went to the humble dwelling, changed out of his fine coat, and put on his old, patched smock frock, the worn clothes of a fisherman, stirring a wave of recognition within his heart. Returning to the great men, dressed in his humble fishing attire, the young man boldly declared, "Do you not see now? Am I not the very son of the poor fisherman? Did I not, in these very clothes, toil and earn bread for my dear father and mother?" At these poignant words, a wave of recognition washed over his father. With tears streaming down his weathered cheeks, the fisherman embraced his son tightly, begging forgiveness for the misunderstanding and the fear that had clouded his judgment. The family, now reunited, walked home together, the tension melting away in the warmth of their love. Back in their humble home, the son recounted his incredible adventures, from his escape to the mysterious mountain castle. The son eagerly described the enchanted castle, the black drapes, and the 3 beautiful princesses dressed in black. He then shared how they had told him not to be afraid, and that he held the key to breaking their spell. His mother, a wise woman with discerning eyes, listened carefully to every word. A worried frown creased her brow as she considered the strange details. "My dear son," she said cautiously, her voice soft but firm, "that sounds like a powerful enchantment indeed, and it might not be a benevolent one. Perhaps to truly break any evil spell, you should take a vessel of holy water with you and gently drop some boiling water onto their faces as they rest." Filled with a mixture of hope and deep apprehension, the young man journeyed back to the enchanted mountain. He found the castle just as he had left it, shimmering with an otherworldly glow. As night fell, he stole into the princess's sleeping chamber, his heart pounding in his chest. Trembling with fear and doubt, he remembered his mother's words and, with a shaky hand, sprinkled the boiling water onto their faces, just as they slept. Suddenly, all 3 princesses sprang awake with startled cries of pain and deep sorrow, their beautiful faces contorted not with anger, but with profound disappointment. "Oh, noble man," one princess cried out, her voice laced with heartbreak, "you have broken our trust and shattered the chance for true freedom. With this act, born of suspicion and fear, you have prolonged our curse even further." A wave of sorrow rather than rage swept through the castle. The beautiful princesses explained that they had 3 brothers, bound by 7 mighty chains, who would now be even harder to free. A loud wailing of despair echoed through the castle halls. Overwhelmed with guilt and sorrow, realizing his grave mistake, the young man instinctively tried to escape, leaping towards a nearby window, but as he landed, his leg twisted, causing him to cry out in pain. Simultaneously, with a sad, deep boom, the entire castle shimmered and slowly sank back into the earth, the mountain sealing itself once more, leaving no trace of where the enchantment had been. Lying at the foot of the now sealed mountain, his leg throbbing with a magical kind of ache, the young man felt a profound weight in his heart. The disappearance of the castle and the princesses, sorrowful cries echoed in his mind. He realized with a heavy heart that he had acted not with kindness and faith, but with fear and suspicion, swayed by misguided advice. His actions, though stemming from a desire to help, had ultimately caused more harm, shattering the trust the princesses had placed in him. He understood that true bravery isn't just about facing dangers, but about having patience, belief, and the courage to act with an open, trusting heart. He vowed, then and there, that he would dedicate his life to finding a new way to help, to learn from his mistake, and one day, perhaps, make amends. This story teaches us a very important lesson about trust and kindness. Sometimes, even with good intentions, if we let fear or suspicion guide our actions, we can accidentally hurt others and break valuable trust. It reminds us that true solutions often require patience, understanding, and having faith in those who ask for our help. Just like how the young man learned that following his mother's fearful advice led to unexpected sorrow, we too should always try to lead with our hearts, seek peaceful ways, and always choose kindness and belief in others, for these are the strongest magic of all.
Ever dreamed of being the hero? Now you get to be the star. Your adventure starts at TalesMio. Visit talesmio.com now.